the Real Madrid brought down Barcelona. A brilliant victory, but more than that, a tactical masterclass from Xabi Alonso. In this video, we'll see how Real took control of the game, the pressing, the transitions, and the way Madrid completely disrupted Barca's plan. Welcome to the channel, The Coach, and let's get into the analysis. Right from the start, Real Madrid tries to press high against Barcelona, but the Blaugrana managed to break it by finding Lopez in the open space in the middle behind Madrid's pressing line. And that's when defender Huijsen steps in. He rushes straight at Fermin, completely abandoning his position. He totally misses his challenge and fails to touch the ball. That allows Barcelona to move the ball forward. And even if the action leads to nothing, what I want to show you here is the intense pressing Xabi Alonso setup, with the center backs pushing very high and taking real risks. And that's exactly what we'll see throughout the match. Right after that, again, defender Huijsen, now with the ball, tries a pass through the middle, but it's completely off target and intercepted by Pedri. Güler and Camavinga close in. Camavinga traps Pedri and wins the ball back. But once again, there's a lack of focus from Real's players here. Camavinga takes way too long on the ball, trying to pick a pass, and Pedri steals it right back, slipping it through to Rashford, who gets a shot opportunity inside the box. Luckily, defender Milito steps in, stretches his leg, and clears it for a corner. After these early mistakes from Real's players, they start to establish their game plan based on fast play and exploiting the spaces behind Barcelona's defensive line. Quick counterattacks down the wings with Valverde, always aiming to find the strikers running in behind Barca's defense. The goal play quickly and vertically to destabilize the opposing block. And in this sequence, Real managed to keep possession and find Vinicius on the left wing. The Brazilian, who's finally back in top form after 2 weeks, starts to take on his defender, trying to drive into the danger zone and the penalty area. And it works perfectly. By forcing Koundé to backpedal, he opens up the space to get inside the box. Yamal comes back to help defensively and makes a tackle, but his foot blocks Vinicius' shot. The referee blows the whistle penalty. Later on, VAR will cancel the penalty and instead call a foul against Yamal. When Barcelona are in possession, they're set up in a 3-3-4 shape, with Bolde stepping up alongside the midfield line, and on the opposite side, Fermin Lopez pushing high into attack. Meanwhile, Real are in a 5-3-2 with Tchouaméni dropping from midfield into the defensive line. But why all these positional changes on the pitch? Simply because it's all about winning the midfield battle. Camavinga is marking De Jong, Güler is on Pedri, and Tchouaméni is tracking Fermin Lopez. The goal stopped Barcelona from building through the middle while still applying pressure on their defensive line. And here's where we see Xabi Alonso's tactical plan, how he managed to transform Real Madrid's pressing and make it actually effective. We've always known that Real's forwards aren't exactly known for their high defensive work rate, so the Spanish coach found a smart solution. Whenever Barcelona are forced to recycle the ball backwards after being trapped on the wing, Real's defense is already in a 3v2 numerical advantage. But then who goes to press the third Barca defender? If you look closely, Arda Güler, who's supposed to stay tight on Pedri, abandons his mark and sprints toward the central defender in possession. So then who takes over Pedri? That's when Tchouaméni drops his marking on Fermin Lopez to pick up Pedri instead. Immediately, Lopez spots the gap behind Tchouaméni and tries to slip into that free space. At that moment, defender Huijsen steps up to follow him and take over the marking. That's what we call a defensive rotation, a high-level tactical concept where defenders switch marking assignments dynamically. But even at that level, it's not flawless because Milito fails to track Torres, who makes a run right into the open space left by Huijsen. That's extremely dangerous and forces Huijsen to drop back at full speed to close down on Torres. Because of that small delay from Milito, Barcelona managed to escape Real Madrid's pressing sequence, finding Fermin in the free pocket of space between the lines, who immediately combines with Yamal, making a run through the middle to exploit that gap. But very quickly, Real Madrid's midfielders track back and completely shut down the central lane. And it's with this tactical setup that Real Madrid will seriously hurt Barcelona, with another high pressing sequence deep in Barca's half, involving 8 players committed in the attacking zone. Once again, Koundé tries to go long, looking for Torres, making a run behind the pressing line into the open space. But Milito is tight on him, pressing hard from behind. Torres tries to lay the ball back to Pedri, and this is exactly where Xabi Alonso's pressing plan comes into play. The goal is simple: create a numerical advantage around the player receiving the ball in the center, the one responsible for organizing Barca's play. As you can see here, Pedri is instantly surrounded by 2 Madrid players. At the bounce, the ball is recovered by the Madrid midfield, and that's how Real Madrid create their first big chance of the match. Once again, the sequence starts with Arda Güler pressing high through the middle. Barca attempt another long ball toward Torres, acting as a pivot, but the striker is completely outmuscled by the defender, who heads the ball clear straight through the middle. And again, on the second ball, the Madrid players rush aggressively to press the Blaugrana midfield. With intensity and physical presence, they win their duels, recover the ball, and immediately find Mbappé through the middle. Without even controlling it, the Frenchman hits it first time, a perfect volley straight into the back of the net. It was a stunning goal, but it's ruled out for offside by the narrow margin of Mbappe's sock. Even after the disallowed goal, Real change absolutely nothing. They keep applying their high pressing all over the pitch. Even when Yamal drops deep to offer a passing option, the defender follows him closely, presses hard, cuts the passing lane, and instantly launches the counter-attack. Faced with this constant pressure, Barca struggle to build any kind of play. Pedri is forced to take bigger and bigger risks, but it leads to nothing. The middle is completely shut down. Meanwhile, Real keep imposing their rhythm with a brilliant combination down the flank between Valverde and Bellingham, who then receives the ball inside. Valverde continues his overlapping run down the touchline, forcing Barca's defenders to drop back and abandon any thought of playing the offside trap. Bellingham fences direction, cuts inside, and turns to face the goal. Immediately, Mbappe bursts into space behind the defensive line. Bellingham launches him perfectly, and with his right foot, the Frenchman slots the ball into the back of the net. 1-0 for Real Madrid. After the goal, Real Madrid keep playing their game, a very high pressing system, with even more intensity on Barca's back line. The pressure is relentless, especially on the striker dropping deep to receive the ball, making it nearly impossible for him to control it. And on the other side, when Barcelona managed to break through the midfield on a counter, Yamal finds himself in a one-on-one situation. But instead of accelerating and taking on his man, he slows down the tempo and plays it safe, passing the ball back to a teammate instead of attacking. The same thing happens again here when he's in possession and Real's pressing triggers. Barca try to progress through their strongest side, Yamal's side, but the young prodigy loses focus, takes a poor first touch, and Vinicius immediately punishes him. Another tactical weapon used by Xabi Alonso's players is the back post strategy. Especially on set pieces, Real Madrid consistently aim for the back post. Like on this play, a short corner ends up drifting to the far side, is recovered, and crossed again toward the center. Barca's defense once more tries to play the offside trap, but by targeting the back post, the distance is longer, which means defenders have more ground to cover and can't step up in time. That allows Huijsen to connect with Tchouaméni's cross, forcing Szczesny into a brilliant fingertip save to clear the danger. And if Barca try to break out on the counter, Real's players instantly swarm the ball carrier with intensity and aggression, cutting off every option through the middle. Barcelona's first real chance comes in the 30th minute. De Jong receives the ball, triggering an immediate press from Bellingham. That's where one of Hans Flick's tactical ideas comes in. He instructs Garcia to push up behind De Jong whenever Bellingham steps out to press. Garcia leaves the defensive line, makes the forward run, and De Jong plays him in perfectly. It's a 2vs1 situation against Bellingham. The Englishman realizes he's been caught out, tries to recover quickly, but it's too late. Torres receives the ball through the middle completely unmarked. He shoots, but the strike is far too weak to trouble the keeper. Despite that, Barcelona eventually equalize thanks to a mistake from Arda Güler. With Barcelona pressing very high up the pitch, Real Madrid managed to absorb the pressure and counter by finding Arda Güler completely alone. Alone in the middle, the Turkish international takes his time on the ball, just like Camavinga did at the start of the match. Immediately, he is trapped by the Blaugrana press. Look at how quickly the players rush at him. The Real player is completely boxed in, and Pedri once again wins the ball back. Immediately, Rashford is served inside the box. He lays it off to the penalty spot for Fermin, who slots it into the net. 1 goal each. After this equalizer, Barcelona gain a bit more control of the game and start creating chances from set pieces, like on this corner, where the cross is very well delivered. Courtois has to stretch to push the danger away. Immediately, a counter-attack is launched. Vinicius accelerates through the center, completely bypassing the Blaugrana midfield. Pedri is late and has no choice but to file Vinicius to stop this very dangerous counter. From this free kick, Real Madrid again use the back post tactic. Meanwhile, Barcelona's defense stays the same, keeping a very high line to try and catch players offside. To counter this, Real don't play the free kick directly. Instead, they play it to Vinicius on the left wing, who races up along the touchline, forcing the Blaugrana defenders to drop back. The Brazilian easily shakes off Yamal and Koundé and delivers across to the back post. Milito easily wins the aerial duel and lays the ball off to the other back post, where Bellingham is completely free. He pushes the ball into the net. 2-1 for Real Madrid. In the second half, Real Madrid don't change their tactic. They maintain a very high pressing line. And whenever the opponent tries to find their pivot striker, they immediately trap him, with the attacking midfielder dropping back and the defender closing down the striker against the midfield. And the ball is easily recovered, like on this play with Real Madrid pressing very high up the pitch. Camavinga presses along the touchline, while Valverde traps Rashford behind him. With Valverde right behind him, Rashford has no choice but to play the ball back, which intensifies the press. The Barcelona players lose the ball very very high up the field. Behind, Bellingham sneaks into the box to deliver a cross. The defender Garcia, thanks to a tackle, deflects the ball onto his hand. The referee awards a penalty via VAR. Mbappe steps up, but Szczesny makes an exceptional save. After this save penalty, Barcelona continue trying to build from the back. Under Real Madrid's press, Yamal is now much more involved, dropping deeper to participate in the build-up. He is found, manages to turn, and releases Fermin Lopez behind Real's press. It's a golden chance for Barcelona, a 3-vs2 situation 30 meters from Courtois' goal. But Lopez plays selfishly and his shot is easily caught by the keeper. As time goes on, Barcelona increasingly press Real Madrid's defense. They try to lure the block to Barcelona's left side, then find Pedri slightly shifting in the middle. This pulls the Real midfield out of position and Garcia dives into the free space behind Real's midfield. Here we see a radical shift in Real players' mentality over the past month with much more will and determination. We've seen this in Vinicius' transformation and here with Tchouaméni, who is relentless in midfield, completely shutting down Hans Flick's tactical plan with the central defender Garcia moving forward. Barcelona increasingly dominate possession, exposing Real's midfield more and more, especially with Yamal moving into the middle to attempt long-range shots. Xabi Alonso decides to substitute Vinicius for Rodrigo, adding a man advantage in Real's midfield. But as always, it's useless to talk tactics with the Brazilian. He loves to put on a show. The Spanish coach sensed it well. His team is pinned back near their own penalty area, completely surrounded by Barcelona. In the last 10 minutes, Real execute intermittent pressing, winning the ball in midfield by trapping the opponent along the touchline, then launching Mbappe in behind. But the Frenchman cannot find the target. Meanwhile, Barcelona also create a huge chance. In the final 2 minutes of regulation, Yamal moves into the middle to help build play against the Real defensive block. Koundé accelerates to dive into the box behind Real's defense. The ball reaches Yamal, who delivers an exceptional pass behind Real's defense to the penalty spot for Koundé. The pass is perfect in Koundé's run, but he mishandles it with an unnecessary chest control, and the ball lands in Courtois' hands. It was a very big chance for Barcelona to equalize. Afterwards, Pedri tries to accelerate in stoppage time, looking for one last opportunity to get back into the game. And on his side, Rodrigo drops back to track Koundé and mark him. Pedri dribbles past the player, but the ball is slightly long. He tries to tackle to recover it and falls Tchouaméni. It's a second yellow card, which means a red card. Real Madrid wins the Clásico 2-1 and Barcelona fall into crisis, losing their best player. The Spanish coach Xabi Alonso implemented a very smart tactic to balance Real Madrid's pressing. He didn't rely on his forwards to recover the ball and apply aggression on the ball carrier. Instead, he completely changed the plan, focusing on midfielders and defenders and using the players' movements during the press. He guided the opponent exactly where he wanted to steal the ball and immediately launch counter-attacks. Moreover, he perfectly read Hans Flick's game. Flick couldn't find solutions, even using Garcia's forward runs in the middle. Now the German coach finds himself in a difficult situation, with many players causing problems within the club. Xabi Alonso didn't just beat Barca, he gave Real Madrid a new identity, a thoughtful, fluid, collective football where every player seems to understand the coach's vision. Tonight, it's more than a victory, it's the birth of a new Real. It was the coach. See you soon for another analysis.